Ugh. Sorry, I had to sneeze right when I turned on the camera. Anyways, what's up? It's Nick here with Living Rich, and today I want to talk about how kind of like the stuff that I talk about on this channel is very me specific, and it's very my experience specific. So I want to try to give you something you can really go away with or take away from this and apply to your own life. And today it's the idea that or just taking a view of where you're at right now, and realizing when you can and when you can't do work to progress yourself, or when you can only do a little work to progress yourself, and then when you can do a lot of work to progress yourself, or to improve yourself. There's like there's an idea that when you have peacetime, chill time, it's so much easier to create a winning situation in your life, to win, whether it's in your the job you work at, in your business. I'm gonna take off my jacket because it's a little hot because I'm inside now. But in order to, I guess I'm gonna have to skip taking off the jacket. Might take more than one hand. But back to the core stuff. Life is won more in the off periods than it is on the on periods. And this is something that I've come to realize a lot. Okay. And here's what I mean by this. And it's not to get confused with not being able to like be thinking in the future or thinking in the past. It's not like that. It's more you have to stay present with the moment to see what it is you can do. And what it is you can do varies from moment to moment, right? And I found that to be really real is that you win or lose the game from all the hours of practice before, from all the food you ate before, from the sleep you got the nights before, from your happiness in your life that you had before. And the game is more of a result of forces that have been at work, or I mean that are presently at work. So in order to change that dynamic that you're in right now, you have to focus on the stuff for an extended period of time. I keep trying to take this fucking jacket off. You have to focus on your goal for an extended period of time, and eventually you're going to see like little levers you can pull, little situations you can create, little things you can start building on, or even just ideas at first, where you can just get the idea of what you're trying to put into action, so you can mentally organize it. Because a lot of times success is really hard, and if you're not mentally organized, you're gonna find yourself in a situation where you get overwhelmed and burnt out, even if you do take the action necessary. So that's just one thing that I found. Like I kind of like create the space mentally for the constructs that I'm building mentally. You know, like the abilities, the skills, whatever. I kind of just like allow it to kind of seep in and kind of just do its work inside of me for whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So, when you find yourself having downtime, when you find yourself winning, I would challenge you to look at what you can be growing, what you can be working on, because it's those times where you start to get bored, you start to lose focus. Those are the times that are going to be determining how everything unfolds. Like, you're actually affecting it you're touching your life situation with every little thing you do. Every little thing you do is touching your life situation. And by being present with that and constantly touching into it, tapping into the good forces that you want to bring into your life, tapping into that intelligence that you want to bring into your life, tapping into, I don't know, the social network that you want to create or be a part of, tapping into the money you want to have, just tapping into it, getting more intelligent, learning how to work it better, and influencing it little by little. There's a saying in the Tao Te Ching that by Lao Tzu that a journey of 1,000 miles or some large amount of miles begins with a single step. Like, you have to take that step, and that step has to be now. And the only way it's completed is one step in front of the other. So, whenever you have these large goals, just take the step that's right in front of you at the time. Take that step. Next step. Take that step. And after you know it, you're going to develop a rhythm. You're going to get a gait. And you'll find yourself moving in the direction, and it'll feel better. Feel more motivated, energized. But most of the stuff happens before the actual determining event. Like, the determining event in a football team's success or failure is the football game. The football team, however, is a consistent thing. It's a consistent entity, for example, and its success or failure depends on the time that's spent outside of the game. And think about this for your life. What is your determining event? Well, if it's with the interview, you better realize that everything that's come before is the determining event for the interview, not you at that time detached from all these forces. So that's the conservative way of looking at it. That's the conservative way of going and approaching things. And I've also challenged you to now take it to another perspective. Now take it to this perspective of opening up yourself to your abilities in this moment, while being relaxed. See, the way I see it is people can have crazy, crazy good games. People can have amazing interviews, just life-changing, like, synchronicity and events. But what I find is that when you depend on that within yourself, when you rely on that to be your savior, you're like looking for something to save you, and you go into a situation unprepared, relying on that, I think a lot of the times you'll find it's not going to work. Especially in a highly specialized world like we live in today. And even not. Like, everything, you have to be adapted and tuned in to whatever you're trying to tune in, or whatever you're trying to touch, to influence, to do. You have to be a part of that. And you have to know the rules of the game in order to improvise. Jazz musicians are really, really good at music, but they don't play anything properly, or at least that's an example from what I understand about it. Like, you can make noises, but that noise won't necessarily be music, while that jazz musician can go and make noises in totally an unconventional way and build on something that nobody else sees. But just because nobody else sees it doesn't mean there's not harmony to it, or if not harmony, but like a depth to it. And this is why people are drawn to jazz music, because they're following a beat that's not quite obvious. And when you first come into something, it takes a second to adjust to. Now, what I would also challenge you to do, actually this is the same thing I'm saying, is find out where your ability actually goes to and see where you can touch, where you can, how well adapted you are. Maybe you're natural at a certain subject area, a certain, game. Maybe you can go really, really far with little experience. But you don't know till you try, and don't let not having the experience stop you from doing that. And at the same time, if you don't have any experience, don't let your hopes of having a natural ability at something stop you from doing preparation. Because the preparation in the long term is what's going to make your ability consistent. That natural spark and intuition, that comes and goes depending on the tides and the moon or whatever you want to attribute it to. It just shifts in seasons. And unless you want to be totally subject to the random feelings and everything that's, coming and trying to push you around, unless you want to be totally subject to that, then you have to do some hunting and some preparation and some practice. And at the same time, you also have to have the time off of it. So there's a lot of different dynamics I am discussing here, and I feel like this video is getting a little complex. So what I want to do is just make it simple. And I'm going to simplify a subject that's actually pretty complex, just because it's real, and real subjects are, there's layers on layers in a real, in reality. It's just there's so many ways that you can break it apart. But it's not useful to be totally broken apart because you just think about it too much. But a simple mantra I would give to you is downtime is growth time. Uptime is go time. And the difference between downtime and uptime is when you're really being challenged and tested by the world. You just feel like you're like the world's demanding of you. Whether you have that long schedule, whether you're not feeling well and your body's in a crisis, or whether you're you have social issues going on, financial issues. All of that is uptime, where you have to be working towards to taking care of what's happening at the moment. That's your game time to see if you've learned your lessons and if you've done your work in the world. Now, downtime is when everything's going gravy, when everything's all good, when everything is Gucci, and you're just ooh, yeah, this is good. I got all this time and do this and that. Enjoy that time, but also use it to take care of underlying structural issues in your life, to take care of yourself and your health and your happiness, get your rest, take care of your fun time, go travel, just all the things you're able to do at that point in time. Life goes in seasons where you're really tested, where you have all these things going on, and then it goes back to it's all podunk, there ain't much trying to, the birds are in the trees chirping, whatever, and you pay attention to it, and you can take the time to pay attention to it. But eventually it's going to go back to tightening up and, testing you, seeing what you got. And it's just this release and contract, release and contract, and release and contract. And you always have to have an appropriate attitude and point of view on either or. So downtime is growth time. Uptime is go time. Downtime is go time. Bucking it up already. Downtime is growth time. Uptime is go time. Yeah, and when your uptime comes, you just like release all of your inhibitions and you just work. You just do the shit you have to do. You take care of business and you be a man or a woman. You be masculine. Yeah. And that is my video for the day. Peace out. Thank you for watching. It's been a great chance to be able to do these videos. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.